Hey guys, welcome back to What's Up, Grimes. I'm Jen. I'm sitting here as usual with MK. Hey MK.
Hello.
It's a Saturday at 12, which is nice. This is I think a different time than any time we've ever recorded before.
Mhm.
Anyway, we have the honor of sitting here with Katya. Katya Lee is a Russian-born, New York-based conceptual artist, and we're so excited to get to talk to her. Katya, would you mind giving us a little bit of information about yourself just to start?
Hey guys, so good to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. A little about me. I used to do pop music in Russia,
Hmm?
pretty successful. And then I decided to change my life and pursue my real calling, which is to do what I script, not what other people script. It's kind of like what every pop artist goes through, every pop star goes through when you're told what to do, how to dance, how to dress. And when I found so many times that I disagree, and I just bought a ticket to New York and decided this is where I'm gonna write my music and make my art.
Yeah, and let's start from the beginning because you've had an incredible life. I want to go back to 2006 actually, which is when you started performing with, if I'm not mistaken, the band Hi-Fi. Can you tell us a little bit about that, how you got started with that?
It was kind of a Cinderella story. You guys gotta believe in Cinderella stories in order for them to happen to you. I'm telling you from my own experience. So because I didn't have, a rich daddy, I didn't have a rich boyfriend, I didn't have, I don't know, all these people who supposed to kind of like grant you a career. Um, uh, I didn't have any of that, so I thought somebody's just gonna discover me one day, and it was this karaoke place that was booming, and I got a proposal to work there, and I thought, oh my God, I'm just not gonna sleep. I'm gonna miss on all of my morning sessions at the university, but a month through, somebody's gonna notice me. So 2 weeks through, this band walks in. There is a video somewhere. They have it for sure. They walk in with the camera on, and they film me singing. And this is like at that time. Imagine you're a little boy, and Sync is like the biggest band, and then they walk in the room and they ask you, "Do you want to be part of us?" This is kind of how it was. Hi-Fi at that time was the band, the hottest band, and I like their music the most out of all the Russian artists. And I still think they're pretty good.
Hmm.
So
That's
they asked me to be part of them, and I said, and I thought it was a joke. But next morning, I was on a flight to Moscow to talk to the producers, and that's how my career started.
Mhm.
Wow, that sounds like a whirlwind type, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, Cinderella experience. So when you were involved with the band, how could you collaborate? Like, how did you add to any of like the lyrics or the songwriting? Did they write it for you, or were you involved in that process?
So all the lyrics and music was written for the band, and before prior me joining them, it was a frontman and another guy and another girl, and the girl basically didn't sing. She was just there because she had beautiful legs. And when I flew to Moscow, I said, "You guys, I'm so like honored that you picked me, but I'm not gonna join because I know the girl doesn't sing in your band, and on my own, I might do better because I'm a real singer." He said, "Wait, what?" And then they promised me that you're gonna sing. Don't worry, the first song is gonna be yours solo, and then we're gonna shift from the front man to a front woman. Blah blah blah. And so I said yes, and that's how I took part in like me and the producer who would write lyrics and music. We would just meet up and sit in the studio and work on things. And um, the next three songs, I did have an impact. Some of the melodies in all of the three songs written or inspired by me. But the situation in Russia, artists didn't get to receive the royalties. All the artists prior, let's say, a few years ago, were basically kind of slaves. You get the fame, you get the recognition, you get the first class flights, and you get all these people running after you asking for an autograph, and you get some kind of lifestyle, which is great, but you don't get the royalties. And this was one of the main reasons why I left Russia, because I thought this is unfair, and the world is already past that, and I wanted to be in a society where artists is treated differently.
I had no idea that that was the case. So this is enlightening to me. And it looks like you stuck with hi-fi for about 4 years, and then you joined Fabrica. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how long were you with them before you said?
4.5, 5.
Yeah.
4.5, 5. Something. Yeah, and it was a very I gotta give them credit for this. Lots of businesses in Russia are done without contract, just a handshake. We had a handshake. I trust you, you trust me. We're not gonna betray each other. So we did, but in our agreement, they promised me that I'm gonna be a front woman, and because of the crisis and hard financial situation in the country, I saw that my role was shrinking, and because they didn't want to invest in us, any band, any artist, it's an investment, and if you don't invest in it, then how do you expect a return? So I thought I don't like it, I'm gonna leave. So I left without any punishment or anything, because we only had a handshake. And a week later, the producer from Fabrica, which was at that time way bigger than Hi-Fi, called me in the middle of the night, like at midnight. And I know of him, I just don't know him. And he said, "We've heard you were single." Because they said it on TV how I am so heartless, and I left them right on this holiday where there's this religious holiday where you're supposed to say, forgive me and God will forgive you. Everybody's supposed to forgive each other. So when I left them, I said, and by the way, it's a forgiveness day, so forgive me. And they're like, "Wow, she's so heartless. She left us on this holiday. We can't even be mad." So Fabrica's producer called and said, "We heard you're single. Do you wanna have lunch? Let's talk." That's how I joined Fabrica.
Yeah. So you went from that career with Fabrica, and then something would have caused you to finally say, "Okay, I'm ready to move to the United States and do something different." When was that for you?
It was another 5 years with Fabrica. Yeah, so it's 5. So I
Okay.
totally had a 10-year career of touring the hell out of the world. Like, if this is the life I dreamed of when I was a little girl, to be a pop star, to live on airplanes, I had like platinum membership on every airline passing through Russia. I was high-fiving stewardesses walking in airplane because we already saw each other this week 4 times. It was great. But then it was just, when you grow up, you realize that your dream to be a pop star is not exactly what you want. It's kind of deeper. This is a consequence of your dream. But what you really want is to translate, to give people something from inside of you, your vision of the world, to try to make it better, to try to make them forget of the hardships, to try to make them believe in themselves. And that's not through Fabrica's music. I never liked it from the beginning, and they knew about it, and I told them, and I kind of like took that job because, you know, when you pop star yesterday and today you're nobody's, kind of hard, and then there's a new opportunity, and that never happens in show business. That never happens. Nobody comes from Spice Girls into Backstreet Boys. It just never happens, because you carry a persona. Even if you don't write lyrics or music, you impact the image of the group. So that's very uncommon in any country, to join up one band, like one character of a band to another. So that was new, and I was like, it was an incredible experience. I'm super fortunate and thankful for that. But 5 years through, I realized that I'm just delaying it. I gotta go.
So when you get to New York, how did you shed that pop star status?
It was always interesting to me how it's like to, because I really matured. Like, my whole grown up life happened on stage, so you can't really, it's not real life, because everybody's running after you, everything is free for you, everything is given, everybody's like, yes, yes, please. So it's not true. and you grow up and just thinking this is how it is. and I really wanted to experience different life, and I like the way English sounds. So I thought it'd be great to go somewhere far, far away from our culture to a completely different one, and have this experiment on my mind, on my brain. How can I acclimate, and how can I just make my art that doesn't depend on any language? Like, do I need the language? Do I have to belong? Do I really, should I be categorized by a zip code, or is it, because I don't believe in that. I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in countries. I don't believe in flags. If we cut me open, there's no Russian flag there, and no zip code. At least for now. Maybe in the future they will start doing that to people. But so yeah, so I got the map of Manhattan, and I picked middle, thinking it's got to be center and Penn Station. So that's where I got a hotel room, and I regretted it immediately.
Yeah.
And I didn't know English. I didn't know English. Like, I didn't know a word in English, and I didn't know a single person there. So it was refreshing.
So I have so much to say after what you just said. One, your English is beautiful, and you've only been speaking it for what, 10 years?
8 years? Eight.
That's insane.
Insane.
Thank you.
The second thing is, it sounds like for you, planet Earth is your home, not a country necessarily. So wherever you are is just where you are. You just don't relate to, belonging in one place.
Well, because this planet is just as much mine just as it is yours. And don't you want to go and explore and see other people and other cultures and dip into other beautiful creations? That's what I wanted to do, and I really like the way English sounds. I remember listening to songs thinking one day I will be fluent in this. And it's so funny when I'm like, even now, walk on the street and I hear a song from when I was 11 or 14, and then in real time I have this translation of what it is actually about, and I'm like, wait, what? I thought it's so deep, and it's about sex. Yeah, it's funny.
I think that's absolutely beautiful. And since I got into the Grimes community, I've met so many international Grimes fans where they sound very much like you. They can translate in real time, and it fascinates me. Speaking of creations, Katya, one of my favorite things about you is your fashion design. Can you please talk to us about that? Because everything from, the bodysuits and the reflective surfaces, how did you get into that?
It's just in the family. Mom is creative, dad is creative, but we just lived very, very, very simple life.
Mhm.
And I wanted to perform, and I needed something to perform in. So my mom was making me dresses because we just couldn't afford buying them. And that's where I was very creative. I'm like, oh, make it this way, make it that way. And then when I went to Moscow, I could afford to just like hire people and tell them what to do with my outfits. And so I found this kind of partner, a seamstress who was in her 70s, and she was bored out of her mind doing all these, suits for men. And then it's me who comes and says, I have a premiere tonight. I have to wear something. How about this pink fabric? She's like, that's not enough for a dress. I'm like, let's combine it with this red. She's like, okay, so we're making it, and it looks like it's like, I don't know, it's like red piece here on the pink piece. I said, do you have paint? So I dip my hands in this paint, and I do that, and I dip my manicure scissors, and I put them in the red nail polish, and I put them as a necklace, and I show up at the premiere, and I look like I murdered someone with this scissors, and all the reporters write about my outfit instead of the freaking premiere. And this is how it was all the time. And we had so much fun with the seamstress, and I didn't even think about it. I was just making it because I was bored to go to this like whatever events where we had to go. And instead of drinking champagne and being published in the end of some magazines that nobody cares about, like I am the talk of the town. So it was like that. And then I just, when I came to New York, I didn't even think about it. I just wore a thing I made, and we walked into, I think it was Oscar de la Renta. I have a snippet of that video. I have it. It might be even on my laptop, because I was just going through my archives. So I walk into Oscar de la Renta because my friend wanted to buy something for his mother, and Russians are all like brands and all of that. I couldn't care less. I mean, it's a nice brand, but like I couldn't care less. And all these buyers surrounding me, and I'm in this like weird, I think it was even a sheep coat, like it was a prototype, the one that I eventually made for Grimes. And they're all around me because Oscar de la Renta is a store with these gowns, everything is like for grown-ups. And I'm in this like sheep coat with hoofs and horns and like a tail. And they're like, what is this? And I'm like, bah. And they're like, do you have a business card? I'm like, oh no. Or do you have a website? I'm like, no. They're like, well, dude, go get it and let us know. Buyers. And my boyfriend's like, friend filming it. He's like, you walking on money. That's kind of how it started here.
So speaking of the sheep's coat, how did that relationship start with Grimes?
I was singing at this. Well, I liked her. I liked her art for a long time. I thought she was really cool for a long time, but I had no idea about her Russian roots and her obsession with the way she likes the culture, and I had no idea. And then years later, I'm at this like small get together singing on stage, and then I see Grimes standing there. And then after we just talk, and she's like, giving me compliments, and I'm wearing the fur, and she's like, where'd you get this? I said, I made it. She's like, oh my God, I want it. I'm like, well, I can give you another one because I made 5. It's only 5. So next time I saw her, it was some birthday party that I just brought it because I thought she might be there, and she was there. And then I see photos, she's wearing it everywhere, which makes me very happy.
Yeah, she looks adorable. She's all swallowed up in it. She's seen in paparazzi photos actually in Germany in it, and then she wears it obviously on Alter Ego set. She looks adorable in it. And this is a cute story because for some reason I just assumed her stylist Turner had seen your page and had reached out to you. I think it's so special that it was a one-on-one conversation and she was like, "Wow, I like that."
Yeah. She just liked the piece. And then once at this Burning Man, sunrise, we're dancing, and there's rhymes, and I am cold because I put my jacket somewhere, I cannot find it. And she says, do you want my coat? That's your coat? I'm like, yeah, I would love it. So she gave me her coat. That's my coat.
That's so cute.
To
And we
wear.
plan to ask you about Burning Man here in a second. Talking about your fashion in general, it's very futuristic, and you define a lot of your fashion from what I've read online as futuristic. What is it about that style that does it for you?
Was always impressed with superheroes, because it's kind of like it's my personal story is very much like a story of any superhero who was like bullied in the childhood and had to figure out how to deal with it. So I liked that they were definitely a protagonist in the story, because I knew ever since I was 13 I'm a protagonist in my story. I'm a good guy, and they're all, even if I don't have the superpower right now, I can't fight with the entire class of kids who are just like, boycotting me, don't want to talk to me because I'm on TV, and I'm missing school, but at the same time I'm the best student in the school. So they like really didn't like it, and I thought, well, maybe I can just dress like a superhero first. I can dress not like everybody else, because I don't want to be like everybody else, because everybody else boycotting me. So I have to be different from them. Um, and this idea of violating the dress code just made me feel very, very happy, because it made me feel like myself. It's no secret, clothes makes you even walk differently. When you wear something like a dress, or when you wear a baggy piece of clothing, your walk changes, how you conduct yourself changes, and it can really help people with their self-esteem. And so I started making these jumpsuits with like underwear on top and things like that. I don't know if you can see, there's like there's a plaque there, like in that corner. I'm standing in the jumpsuit with like underwear on top. That was like 11 years ago. It was no category of this kind of clothes, and now every Dua Lipa wears a jumpsuit with like kind of underwear lines. Everyone. So yeah, superheroes.
Speaking of your fashion and how aesthetically pleasing your posts are, can you talk about what the dichotomy is with showing aesthetically pleasing outfits and then introspective descriptions underneath?
Well, that's kind of my problem with Instagram, because I feel like here versus Russia. In Russia, influencers, they write posts, you read it, and there's a picture. Here, nobody really reads. So it's like minimized to like very, very little of information, but I try, and I hope people read. And thank you so much for letting me know, because I really thought there were like literally 2 people reading it, and might be you, 2 people. Aesthetically pleasing, I don't even know. I guess I'm not trying. I just I like this idea of given the subject, whether it's Grimes or whether it's somebody else I make the outfit for. I want her to feel like this warrior, like this who's against the mainstream, who's against the power, who's one against everything. And it's not about sex, it's not about boobs, it's not about that at all, but she can't help being beautiful. So,
and speaking of what's written underneath your stories and in your posts, just like MK said, we read them. I read a lot of your Facebook posts because your Facebook is just this beautiful collection of who you are through posts. In October, you actually made a post about how you're your mother's daughter and that she made you a gorgeous bag out of your own pants. And you mentioned that your parents are creatives. What's your relationship like with them? How do they inspire your work?
Um, I'm super close with him. I right now my dad has cancer, so I'm really worried about it because I'm far away, and because of this bullshit with borders and documents, I'm in this position where I either have to start my documents for the green card, and that means I'm gonna be trapped here for a year, which is it's insane that somebody has to be trapped in the country for a year because they started a process.
Mm.
And if I don't start it, then my visa runs out, and then I won't be able to come back here where everything is here. And I don't start it because I'm afraid something happens to my dad. So I start my day with calling mom, and I finish my day calling mom. So it's 9 a.m. At 7 I had a call with mom and dad. Um, they're creative. My dad just gave me this dragon he made. I think I posted it in stories. He carved it out of wood. It's this like intricate, beautiful dragon. It's just like, he's just like, okay, I'll make it. It's not what he does. It's just like, on Friday. Um, Mom was always creative. She taught me how to work with paper, make flowers. And when I was 7, I made my first project, flowers with paper. And I saw this little shop selling candy and gum. And I went there and I traded my flowers for a bunch of gum. I was 7. It was my first money made out of
Oh,
my art. And I realized I'm going to be an artist. I don't care about all these normal jobs. No.
yeah, and I'm so sorry to hear about your father and his illness. And you had talked to us a little bit about that in DMs, and our hearts broke for you. And grief seems to be a theme lately in a lot of your posts, not just with your father, but with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Can you tell us how that affected you at the time and how it's still affecting you?
It's like my whole world fell apart because when you hear news about the war somewhere far away, you don't really acknowledge it. For
Mm,
Americans, a good example would be 9/11.
mm,
They all
Mm.
hear about wars, but when 9/11 happens, they're all like, oh my God, this is a disaster. But if you compare these numbers to like the war they hear about, this isn't like, can't even be counted. Like it's that insignificant to the amount of people died in the wars that, let's say, this country's making happen. um, so when this happens to the people you actually know and the people you care about, and the war started by the country I am from, it's just this like reevaluation of reality and disappointment in humankind, because like you thought that you know what's good, what's bad, and more or less of the level of evilness of the power, and now you just know that it's so evil and nothing you can do, and they're just conducting this like war, and these people go killing each other, and none of them want to do that, by the way, and both of them are in big trouble. And it's just my life is kind of like on pause, and I'm just counting days until it's done.
yeah, and Katya, you're expressing something that I've heard many other Russian citizens speak on, which is the disappointment and the grief of this is our country and we don't necessarily agree with their politics, and it's difficult that we
Very much
are,
don't agree.
yeah,
Very much don't agree. Yeah,
yeah.
we never
And
agree. Yeah.
we're like put into this label now of Russians and what Americans think of that, even though we don't agree with the country's stance at all.
Well, it's just this problem is called generalization, and it's
Mhm.
all over. It's everywhere. I was I, I took some time last night and I listened to this Kanye's interview where he's talking about Jewish people and how, like,
Hmm.
what's I was like, I want to know what it's all about, because it's just everyone's talking about it. Everyone seems to be so upset about it. But what he's saying is he's generalizing
Mm.
Jewish people as one. And this is what's happening with the Russians right now. They're all generalized, and like I know people who are like trying to live their life, trying to like put their children through school in like Switzerland, where they were there since they were 9, and now they're 40, and their kids go to school, and the school doesn't accept them because they're Russians.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what kind of world are you trying to build if you planting hate in kids from the very beginning? It's not going to be a good outcome. You can't generalize people by the actions of their power. And also, Russia is the biggest country on our planet. You can't say somebody's Russian because this is the passport they got. Like for example, my last name is Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I am more American than any of my American friends I know. I have Native American blood. So am I really Russian? I don't know. So
How do you filter all of this into your art? I notice I love the Stage of Life series that you did with the silkworms. They're so beautiful. Can you talk us through your process and how you filter your frustration and grief into your art?
With the silkworm, I think there's a lot of photography there. I actually just leaked. I just only put the backstage. What you saw, it's just backstage iPhone video. But I was at my mom's house, and my girlfriend came to visit, and she's in. It's crazy. My life is crazy. I studied with these people. I went to school with them. I performed with them. I come back. A friend I performed with is now minister of culture. Another dude who used to announce me on stage is the president of Ukraine. And my friend who's like I went to school with is an incredible artist. I'm like, wait, what? What am I doing wrong? It's crazy. So my girlfriend became out of my cool friend. She became she morphed into this incredible artist who just like creates these concepts through photography. And also she works with hands, so she sews and she makes these. I don't even know how to explain it. Like in that video, she tagged in that video, so go check her profile. She's incredible, and she speaks about the war a lot, and about because it's so interweaved. Ukrainians and Russians, we all have Ukrainian blood. We all date Ukrainians. They're part of our families. We all have families there. So it's really hard for us to start like hating them, or because they're a part of us. And it's like can you I don't even know how to explain this. Like it's like America will start hating Dallas, It's like what? And we were talking about everything, and I told her a story about silkworms, how one summer my mom and my dad decided to make some money, and they took on these silkworms, and how I witnessed the whole process and how I helped, and how eye-opening was this life of the silkworm, where you think everything has a reason and a purpose. Like I think my life has a purpose, and then I see a silkworm that is just born, weaves eats a lot, sleeps, weaves this little cocoon that is so perfect, and then we just, if we're on time, we just boil the silkworm alive and get the silk and make a beautiful dress. Or if we're not on time, it just like cuts out a hole. It gets out as in the form of a very fat butterfly. And I can't really fly far, because through the centuries of domestication, it got really big, because you feed it in order to create a lot of silk. So they become obese and they can't fly away far. So they fly away somewhere on the next tree. They quickly have sex with somebody else, make babies, and die. And I'm like, this is it? This is your whole purpose, to make somebody else's silk dress, or just like this? And maybe this is my life too. Maybe I really can't do anything about this war. Maybe there's no like purpose of making this world better. Maybe the reason for me existing was just to like contribute to, I don't know, this conflict, or I don't know. It's very existential problems going through my head right now.
Yeah, and I think that comes out in your writing. You're so eloquent in your writing. And the reason why MK and I laughed a little bit earlier when you said your life is crazy is because we watch your stories and your life is crazy. You are like on the go. I don't know how you have this energy. I don't know how you do what you do. Do you have a team that you work with, or is it just you doing all of the things?
I am a one-woman show. No, I don't have a team, although I would love some. I think my statement from now is I'm looking for think-alikes. I really want like an army, a team of people where we can just team up and create something beautiful together and create opportunities for other people like me when I was 11, who really wanted to create but did not have opportunities.
Mhm.
So yeah, or just saying things, putting things into art to just like helping people to understand certain things, because they didn't have a front seat view just like I did, because I lived in all these three cultures. I didn't just hear about it from the news.
Mhm.
I was there, and my view is very, very different from the view of somebody who's never been outside of LA, because it's not secret. There's propaganda everywhere in every country, and it's
Mhm.
very strong here in America. It's like, well, I only realized that when I got out to visit my family. I'm like, holy shit, they don't let information in. So, yeah, looking for think-alikes. So I made this last night.
It's so cute.
Yeah, and I gather these leaves. I have it all around, so I see it and I think about it, like these leaves.
They're so pretty.
I'm gonna probably make some kind of like crown and a dress covered with all kinds of different leaves. And yeah.
In August, you posted about your commitment to not outsourcing materials. So that must be a difficult balance with how fast-paced fashion is and the trends rapidly changing. Can you talk about how you keep that in check and balanced?
Yeah, I think I should just start talking about it more, because this is my problem is I don't share. I have thoughts, but I don't share. This has been my view for quite a bit, for maybe 5 years, because I've accumulated lots of fabrics, lots of supplies, lots of everything. And when I moved places, this is what's important to me. All these fabrics and wires and stuff that is like trash, not like clothes. And the idea of fast fashion, how badly it affects our planet, and really, like, the planet will be okay. It's just what we're killing is we are destroying the opportunity for humankind to live on this planet without problems. That's what we're doing, because the planet will be okay. It's just going to shake us off and everything will be fine again. But if we want to survive, we just got to be mindful. It's kind of like when you walk into a restaurant, you just like don't, you're just respectful of everyone, and everyone's respectful of you. You don't throw things on the floor. This is kind of how we got to act with the planet, and we don't. And this is where I want to go with my art. So many times I had an opportunity to scale my designs to have, like, I don't know, make lots of dresses, make lots of pants, lots of this, lots of that. But I don't think the world needs more pants or more
We agree.
t-shirts, because
Oh, yes.
We hate
because
pants.
if we stop making yeah, if we stop making them today, there's still going to be enough of pants for the entire planet for the next 10 years. So they burn it, and they poison the planet with all of that. And my commitment is just, well, it's been my commitment for a long time, but now I just have to voice it. And I'm preparing a show, a gallery show, where every piece will be made of like recycled stuff, trash, like old toys, wires. Um, and every piece will be about a problem that is contributing to climate change, which is essentially the biggest problem for our future generation that's going to face living on our planet. Don't you want your children to not be like from a Hollywood movie where everything just like collapses and they have to survive? I don't want this future for my kids or kids of my kids or just kids of my neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I totally agree with what you're saying, and it's fantastic that you're so involved with that, because Grimes is big on this as well. She came out with merch about a year ago, a crop top. It was the only thing in her merch store, and it was really important to her that that be sent with as few materials as possible, so all you get is a bag and a shirt when you get it. And I think it makes her nervous to send out merch because of the amount of waste that we're putting back into the environment. So that's fantastic.
You know, when I receive all these little, I don't know, it was somebody sent me this, you know, like promotional thing, thinking I'm an influencer, send me a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like a box. And in the box, there's a lot of packaging material.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of like cards and stickers and stuff that goes directly in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, we're like conscious about blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Absolutely. And it drives me nuts as Christmas approaches and I'm getting these boxes from Amazon of gifts to send to my friends. And you know as well as I do, you have like trash bags full of crap that they've packaged in this just to send you one little product. It's insane.
Yeah, a box like this for a little thing. I'm like,
yeah.
Wow.
That drives me nuts. I'm switching
Yeah.
gears a little bit on you, Katya. I want to switch gears to Burning Man. We know that that's really important to you. Tell us about how you got started going to it and how involved you are with it and what it means to you.
I, just like everybody else, had this preconception of Burning Man that it's a place where a lot of people who do drugs go. And I'm not like that. And, ooh, I don't want to be like that. You're going to be around people doing drugs? And I'm from Russia, so we were like, it's a very conservative society where drugs are punished and drugs are bad. And then in the first year, but I knew that something about Burning Man is calling me, and I had it in plans, so it's just like somewhere there. And the first people I meet in New York, they're all burners, and they said, let's go. I'm like, well, I don't do drugs. They're like, you don't have to. It's totally cool. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go and check it out. And when I went, my whole world just like turned upside down, and life was like before Burning Man and after Burning Man. That's how big of an impact I had. It had on me because Burning Man is not like it's not a festival. Have you girls been to Burning Man?
No, I know a lot about it, but no, that's not, I don't camp. I don't do outdoor things, but I love listening to other people's experience.
I'm more of an indoor kid.
Yeah.
This was my first time camping, by the way. And yeah. So I knew it was going to be hard. It's not for people who like enjoy camping. It's not, because it's gonna be hard. This is the hard part. And if it was somewhere, you know, like by the river where the weather is always nice, I think it would turn pretty dark very soon. And because it's hard, everything is hard about it. It's hard to eat. It's hard to move around. It's hard to live. It's hard to just like get rid of this dust all the time. That's why I think it's kind of like similar to where I'm going with the whole existential crisis idea. You gotta go through hardship to understand the real value and where you are, and to appreciate. So first of all, the amount of creativity and people who come there despite of all this hardship is just mind-blowing. And all of them come not just to show off. They come to change people's, to just affect them like they affected me, for free, just to come and make your life be never the same again. And they believe in the world that is better. You know, you walk into a temple where you see people of every religion next to this chick doing naked yoga with her vagina right here, and everybody's fine with it. You know, everyone's fine with it. And then they get out and they go home, and then they start hating each other because they remember that, oh, I'm Jewish, and I'm Palestinian, and I am I don't know, Ukrainian, and I don't know, whatever. So this is kind of incredible that they're capable to do it on micro scale, and you get a sense of this society where it's not about money. Yeah. So I don't think it's worth to try to convince anyone. It's gonna happen to you if there is a calling, and if not, well, you're missing out. What can I say?
So at Burning Man, what is your favorite thing to engage in? Because everybody seems to have like their favorite thing they like to do. What is yours?
It's like a magic land where you just have to trust it and just let it happen to you. Favorite thing is A, find revelations, which just happens all the time, and B, meet incredible people, because you don't know who they are. You don't judge them by their cover. They give you this brochure, what happens on which day, where, in which camp, and you just like throw it away. And you just ride your whatever vehicle, and you just ask people, hey, where's this thing? And then you strike a conversation, and then 6 hours later you're like, this is the most interesting conversation in years. Yeah,
it sounds like a spiritual experience almost for you.
It's completely a spiritual experience. It's first and foremost spiritual experience. It's like you're going there to upgrade your operating system.
That's a really good way to put it. It's just a refresher with people that are like-minded, and you go from there. Plus, it gives you a really good opportunity to show off some of your incredible fashion, because I think some of my favorite outfits that I've posted to my stories when we announced that you were going to come on came from Burning Man, if I'm not mistaken. There's one like silver one with reflective stuff all over it.
Yeah, and the Cosmic Girl. I love that.
Good.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I think this is an opportunity for everyone to just envision themselves as who they think they are, because there's so much freedom there, and they get to just be all these princesses and princes and I don't know, like warriors, and you get to really see who they would want to be if real life didn't happen to them.
Well,
so it's beautiful.
I'm going to continue to watch your page and look from afar from inside my house with the bathroom and the bed and my makeup. I will live vicariously through you. Ironically, we reached out to the Burning Man team and we're waiting to hear back from them after filling out their application to talk to some of their folks on the podcast as well, to get their take as people that manage it, because it really is fascinating.
Yeah. They're really beautiful people. With this idea, I think it's so much respect from me and so much adoration, and what they've created is a movement and culture, and so much respect.
As we wrap up here, going back to your music, we know that your new single Falling is out. Is a new album in the works? What can you tell our listeners about what to expect from you musically?
It's like one of my biggest problems. Like I make, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna release that. It's too old. It's like, oh, I don't think this way anymore. This is not cool anymore. Like when the pandemic started, I went to Memphis to work with this producer, which I thought was like, oh my God, I get to work with Justin Timberlake's guitars. Holy shit. Like all the Russian friends of mine would be like over the moon, and I'm like, I'm gonna post about it, and I never did. And now that the song is out, I'm like supposed to talk about it, and I'm like, what? I don't think it's cool anymore. I mean, it's sure it's cool, like the guy's super professional, and he like, because I wrote the whole EP next to him under his supervision, I grew tremendously in production, writing, all of that. But it's no longer how I feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
But so the EP is kind of like a soundtrack to a graphic novel that I'm working on. Forgot about it. The graphic novel is about a girl from the future. She looks like this.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
She looks like this. This is illustration made by my Russian fan, and she just like, we morphed into this like, I no longer make that music and she's no longer a fan of that, but we're friends and she's incredible. I'm gonna tag her, I'm gonna post something and I'm gonna tag her so you guys know she's incredible. So she's doing all the illustrations, and the novel is about a girl from the future who comes to save the world, and the music is like a soundtrack, and Falling is about the moment when you fall for someone and you know it's not gonna end good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're kind of like telling yourself, oh my god, no, turn around, but you're not.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I just uploaded a song just like literally just now. It's gonna be out in 2 weeks, I think. So you're supposed, as an artist, you're supposed to do it like 4 weeks prior, and then you're supposed to like promote it and tell everyone. And I'm like, I'm never gonna do that anyway, so I'm just gonna upload a bunch of music. So this upcoming song is about the war and how I feel in the midst of all of that. So the song is, I gathered sounds of sirens and gunshots and explosions and people screaming in riots, and I turn it into music. So this is what's to expect.
Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I think so many people will relate to that, and we'll be your promotions team, posting to our page about your stuff coming out soon. Katya, we are so fascinated by you. Thank you so much for joining us and taking an hour out of your very crazy schedule to talk to us a little bit about you. We'll post your socials, obviously, in the links below. If you guys want to check out Katya's stuff, please follow along with us so that you can see more of her fantastic creations. Thank you so much, Katya, and we will be back later this week with more content from What's Up Grimes. Bye, guys.
So much. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Kay. Thank you.